Initially published under DC Vertigo from 1988 to 1996, the original 75 issues of the Sandman aren't just about Dream. Notably, many of the story arcs in the comics don't feature Dream at all. So while the Netflix series seems comparably shorter than the OG comics, this isn't actually the case in terms of Dream's journey, the entirety of which is told in the show. In fact, the show's writers used up stories from the 75 issues faster than they thought they would. As series creator and producer David Goyer explains, in many cases the source material to make an episode was 4 or even sometimes 5 issues. So when we first went into it, we thought it would be possibly 4 10-episode seasons. But in the end, Netflix needed just 2 seasons to properly flesh out and conclude Dream's story. This means that the last parts of season 2 will adapt the Wake. The very last chapter are issues number 70 to number 75 of the Sandman. And before we move on, a trigger warning is in order. The next part of this video discusses rape and other forms of sexual violence. The allegations of rape and human trafficking against the Sandman author Neil Gaiman first came to light around the summer of 2024, and at the time, according to David Goyer, they were already 3 weeks from completing filming for season 2. So while it seems that the Sandman is ending because Neil Gaiman was cancelled, it's actually a creative decision based on the source material. To be fair, here's what Goyer said about the legal cases Neil Gaiman is currently facing. I have tremendous respect for women that come forward in those situations. It's really concerning, but I know that Netflix at the time felt, God, we spent 2 years making this thing. There's all these actors and writers and directors involved that if we didn't air it, wouldn't be fully compensated for it. And so we just decided, we're gonna let this work speak for itself. But I'd be crazy to say it wasn't weird. It's hard to say whether Netflix will continue to bankroll content based on the Sandman, but even without the issues surrounding Neil Gaiman himself, chances of a future Sandman spinoff seem low. In fact, the 2024 Sandman spinoff Dead Boy Detectives was already canceled due to low viewer numbers after just 1 season of the show. In relation to this, it can be quite expensive to adapt DC Vertigo titles for streaming, and with little mainstream demand for these stories to come to live action, the cost of such spinoffs may far outweigh any potential gains for Netflix. On the other hand, the world building in the Sandman already paves the way for future spin-offs. The bonus season 2 episode, Death the High Cost of Living, is already based on one of the several spin-offs of the original Sandman comics. Moreover, unlike the stories already adapted by Netflix, Sandman comic book spin-offs like House of Mystery and Destiny: A Chronicle of Deaths Foretold weren't written by Neil Gaiman, so despite the many hurdles, maybe the live-action world of the Sandman doesn't need to end in season 2. But what do you think? Should Netflix retire this franchise or not? Tell us in the comments, and thanks for watching Screen Rant.